You ain't gotta lie to kick it, my nigga. You ain't gotta lie. You ain't gotta lie.
Welcome back, YouTube, to another episode of You Ain't Got a Lie podcast. I'm 2AV Jasta, aka Jasta HD. Who am I here with today?
Your boy Money. You know, this pod 12, man, I'm excited.
Yes,
we've been
number
going
12.
strong for about 4 months now.
And it's crazy how much time flies, because I remember us talking about it. I still remember recording our first video, and the fact that fast forward that we're 4 months in is one of the compliments, showing that we've been staying consistent to it, and it's a great film, as well. So I'm happy to be doing this with you every Friday and posting it out to the world, and we just gotta keep growing, trying to fluctuate. We got some topics on hand for y'all today. First, we're going to be talking about coping with racism and microaggression. And microaggression can be from day-to-day life, from workplace, different situations like that. Then we're going to talk about some of the best and worst advice we've heard. Then we're going to have a little juicy debate. I'm going to say what it is, but me and Money are going to have a nice little debate. A lot of you guys say we tend to get along. This one we're not going to get along for sure, because we're on opposite sides of this debate. And then we're going to wrap it up with some NBA buzz. Money, anything you want to say before we get into this first topic?
I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see how this goes.
All right, man. All right. So, first topic we're going with is coping with racism and microaggression. This week we're diving into a topic that affects a lot of us more ways than we can sometimes admit. Coping with racism and microaggressions, whether it's blatantly discrimination or those subtle digs that people try to pass off as joke. It weighs on your mental health. And so today we're talking about how we deal with it and how it shows up in our daily lives and how we can protect our own peace. So I got a couple questions written down. The first one I have is, have you experienced microaggression or racism in a situation that stuck with you? And the one situation for me that stuck with me was, you remember I had the travel job. I was on this work site, and I was talking to a coworker, and we just talking, making jokes or whatever. And he said something I found funny, so I'm laughing. Ha, man, I can't breathe. That's hilarious. And so as I say that, the white girl walks by, and she's like, "Who are you, George Floyd?" And she just thought that was so funny. And I'm like, just flippantly said it, and I'm like, that's not funny. And I told her, I made sure it was known, like, hey, that's not funny. And then the next day, she felt the need to come back to me and be like, hey, I ran that joke by my black friends, and they said it was actually funny. And so I think you overreacted yesterday. And my first thought, the hood in me was like, what Uncle Tom ass niggas you hanging around that said that was funny? You know what I'm saying? So that was crazy. That was crazy to me. So it was like, I didn't find that joke funny. This man lost his life, and you're making light of the situation. Like, we never the only time you can get away with a joke about something like that is when they were an evil person. Like, if you make a Hitler joke, Hitler was known to be evil. You know what I'm saying? So you can get away with a Hitler joke. But an innocent black man who lost his life, and some of his last words was, "I can't breathe," we're making a joke about it. I didn't find none of that shit funny. So that's the first instance of microaggression that pops into my head. What about you?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. One of my cousins told me, when you go outside, the two things you have to worry about is the police and another black man. I'm gonna say, I have had to deal with racism. I have a couple instances. Do you want me to just say one, or just say all of the instances?
Get off your chest, my brother.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this is me with some of my cousins. We're coming from the Lakeland Square Mall, and I'll say this cousin, he plays fantasy football with us, but we're coming out of Lakeland Square Mall, and we had bags in our hands because obviously we purchased some things. We were younger, and out of the corner of my eye, I see an older white lady grab her purse, and I'm like, my cousins didn't see it. Like, I always watch my surroundings carefully, and I see it out the corner of my eye, and I'm like, why is she doing that? And then I was like, okay, whatever. I just let it slide, but I was like, let's just be real. We probably have more in our bags than she probably got in her purse anyways. And she's grabbing her purse like we're gonna rob her. Like we got better things to do with our day. And I was like discriminated against at that point because we're young black males who were just we weren't even paying attention to her.
Just
She
walking
was
while
the
being
last thing
black.
on our mind. We just came from the mall. Yeah, yeah. And I'll say, I bet this has happened to you where you've went into a store and you're being watched the whole time in the store, and it's like, why are you watching me? Like I ain't gonna steal nothing. Like,
Yeah.
so I'll say I've had to deal with that. But another big incident that I've had to deal with was I was at USF. Me and some friends, we had came from a party. We weren't really drinkers or anything, but so, we weren't intoxicated. But we came from a party and it was a group of white girls walking. We weren't even paying attention to them. We were just talking and laughing and having a good time. And they ran across the street and I'm talking to my boys. I'm like, did y'all see that? And they're like, yeah. They're like, we weren't even paying attention to them. It was just us having a conversation and they ran across the street like we were gonna rob them or something. And
Yeah.
the way I handled that situation was I was like, you know what? They're just some ignorant people because we weren't even paying attention to you. You all were a good, ways ahead of us. Like we got better things to do. We were all trying to, go back to our dorms or our apartments and just go on about our night. So I'll say those are a few things. I haven't really had to deal too much with work related stuff. So I'll say the work related stuff, I really don't have too many instances regarding that.
Well, that's good though.
But I'll say, I did have an instance where me and one of my coworkers, when the cops were killing, black men and the topic came up and me and him, had a conversation and we're good after that. So,
We lost a
I'll
friend
say
because of
with
that.
some guys,
We used to be
yeah,
friends with a guy. Man, me
yeah.
and Money were younger, and we were like it was a group of us. We was all really close. It wasn't like no, he was just someone I said like. I stayed over this man's house. You know what I'm saying? Money stayed over his house. Like we were all legit friends, and so it was way back when uh Trayvon what was his name? Trayvon Walker? Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon
Trayvon
Martin.
Martin
Trayvon Martin.
had just lost his life and they had the trial or whatever and Zimmerman got off. And he posted on his Facebook justice was served. And first of all I was just taken aback by it. Like, what? And I'm like, what do you mean justice was served? And he was like, hey, we went through the trial. It wasn't enough evidence to prove it, so justice was served. And it was just the fact that he really felt that way. And then it was like, and then he went as far as to try to get money on his side. He reached out to Money and told him like, hey, and this is funny enough. This is before me and Money were as tight as we are now. So the fact that Money was like, no, I got little brothers, man. Like I think about what if that was one of them. He was like, that's not cool. That wasn't cool to me either. And so needless to say, me and Money don't talk to him anymore. Like I have no idea where he's at in life. I mean, obviously wish him the best, but like that just shows me the type of person you are. The fact that you are friends with black people and you knew about some of the things that we dealt with, and the fact that you just felt, not only you felt the need to say that, but you believed it enough to post it and put it out there in the ether, it showed me what type of character you are as a man. And so it's sad. It's sad, honestly. Another one I got up here
Yeah, it
is,
is.
what are the differences between microaggression and racism to you? To me, I think the biggest difference is most microaggressions is that the person generally doesn't see it as what they said being offensive. And so like it could be something as lighthearted as well, maybe lighthearted is the wrong word, but they will say like oh, aren't you eating it? You guys like curry, right? Or it's like, oh, because I'm white I'm smarter than you. Oh, because I'm black I'm more athletic than you. And that's another thing. It's black people can be racist too. You know what I'm saying? And I think
I
that's what
agree.
racism is. Racism is, because I met a lot of racist black folks, but I think that's what racism is. Racism is just thinking you're better than someone. Opposed to microaggressions is people just saying things, and like I said, sometimes genuinely not realizing what they said is offensive. You go to you see somebody who's Hispanic and they have hot sauce. It's like, oh, you Hispanics love hot sauce, right? Not realizing like, yo, that's offensive. And I think that's what microaggression is compared to racism. What about you?
I'll say racism is more blatant. You know,
Yes.
it's more of a blatant thing, and I'll say microaggression, like you're saying, is more. You know, I'll say I don't think it's lighthearted, but I'll say it's not as
Yeah, lightheart
blatant.
was the
You
wrong
know,
word.
like with the racism. Yeah, with racism, I'll say with the lady grabbing her purse because she seen three black men. That's racism. Blatant is like how you were saying. I mean, microaggression is like how you were saying. You know, with the hot sauce situation. So that's how I look at those two.
Okay.
And I agree. There are black people that are racist too, who are like, all these group of people are, this way or that way, and I'm like, no, I look at it like there's bad in every group, and that's how I truly feel, you know. And instead of, like I said, like you were saying, it's both sides. It's
Right.
racism in all types of different ways. I'm gonna say even in I'll say even in, I know we
Say
don't
it.
talk a lot about this, but even with politics, it's
Oh,
racism always,
I thought you were gonna
everywhere
go a
with
different
everything.
direction with that. Yeah, correct.
I'll say
A
in a
popular argument
workplace,
amongst the black
I think
community is if Barack Obama was our shade, would he have gotten that position? If he wasn't half white, would he have been put in that position?
so I'm saying, it's a lot of in the workplace. There you may not get certain positions because the color of your skin or how they feel about you. So I'll say racism is everywhere, but there's also a lot of good people who will, look at you as the person you are. I look at, like my saying is, I look at the person, not based off their actions, not just based off the color of their skin. That's how I look at things. And that's how I live. I look at your actions. Just because you may be, blue, I'm not gonna look at you because you're blue and like, oh no, he's a bad person. No, I'm gonna look at you based off of your actions.
All right. All right. And another one I have is what are the short and long term effects of racism on mental health? And I think if it's something you're around a lot, it can definitely, make you feel less than. And I think it depends on your upbringing and who you're around. Like it's a very famous clip more recently that's been going viral of Blake Griffin saying that he wishes he wasn't half white. And people try to like clown him for the video, but I understood what he was saying because he will never be black enough to be black, and he'll never be white enough. He's too black to be white. So, it's gonna have you need strong people in your life. Us growing up in the South, we're raised a lot different than people up north. Like one of the things I remember my grandmother telling me at a young age is like, hey, Jay, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful where you at, who you're around, and what you say and how you carry yourself. And I'm a kid. I'm like, well, what do you mean? And just like saying, people aren't gonna like you just because of the way you look. And I'm like, they're not gonna like me because of how I look. It's like, yes, it's because of how you look. And fast forward to even adulthood, you get stereotyped for having locks and stuff like that. And so just having that right core foundation, like having my grandmother who obviously grew up in the time where things were segregated and stuff like that, she instilled in me to understand that people aren't going to like me for me, and that's okay. It's okay that people don't like you. If they want to be ignorant enough and not want to get the chance to understand who you are and judge you, then let them be. And that's a part of life. And when I was younger, it was worse. From my personal experience, it was a lot worse when I was younger. And I mean, it's not as bad in certain areas now, but like it was bad. Especially like Arbondale. Arbondale is really racist, and Polk County itself is actually really racist. It used to be called Imperial Polk County, and for the people who know, you know. So Polk County as a whole is really racist, and I think I was fortunate to have my grandmother really instill those foundational pieces to make me be confident in myself. Because if it's not, you'll feel less than. You start having those thoughts of I don't belong here, and maybe I should take my life, and it's sad.
I'll say the long term effects is I'll say sometimes with the older generation they still don't trust different groups
Correct.
of people because of things they went through. I'll say that's the main thing. I'll say even with our community we deal with I'll say it's more discrimination sometimes, but I mean it says more discrimination, but I'll say a lot of us don't trust each other. We do more harm to each other than other groups,
Which is sad.
and I'm
That's why
like
we
that's a
struggle to grow as
big
a
issue
people.
too.
Another
Yeah,
thing too, I thought
yeah,
you were going to
we're
touch
like
on earlier is the racism in our own community, the light skin versus dark skins.
that.
How many
Yeah,
jokes do you see about that? How many people that really don't like dark skinned dudes and they black themselves? It's like at the end of the day we all black, and us being turned against each other is wild, but it's a real thing. It's a real thing that it's light skinned dudes and it's dark skinned dudes, and light skinned dudes think they're better than dark skinned dudes and vice versa. It's a real thing we deal with though. Or it's dudes that say, "Oh, I only date light skins." You know what I'm saying? So it's a real thing. And I think, you
yeah, I
don't hear
agree.
white people saying, "Oh, white America's better than European and white," and it's like you don't hear that. You don't hear those comparisons. You know what I'm saying? You always hear the positive, like, "Oh, Russians are tough." Like they support one another. They put one another up, and I think we should really work on that as a black community.
Yes, yes, I totally agree. Um, even though this situation didn't happen to me, it comes close to home. My brother and dad were driving in a car, and they even got the police called on them in our own neighborhood.
Mm.
Like, really? In our own neighborhood. And I'll say at one point, it did have me look differently at my neighbors because of that.
Of course.
It's like, we've been in the neighborhood longer than, a lot of folks. And we get the police called on us because us driving a car. That was when we had the BMW. You remember the
Yeah.
BMW? Yeah, so that's what happened. I'll say racism. I think sadly, will always be around. I just say
Because
I
it's going
think
to
it's
continue to be taught.
sad that it will. Yes, but I'll say it's more racism in the South than it is in the North.
Well, yeah.
To be honest with you, so I'll say it helps. I'll say
It's pretty
the
bad in the
main
Midwest
thing
too,
we can
depending
do
on
is
where you
grow
go.
from.
Like when I was in college, I
Really,
remember, yeah, I remember, it's kind of a funny story, but it kind of sadly ties into the stereotype. And I'll get to that after I tell the story. So basically, we was at it's when I was in college in Iowa. It was me and a couple of my teammates went to the convenience store down the road, and so our white homeboy who was with us, he wins up, he pays for his stuff, and gets his stuff, and he's like walking towards the door waiting on us. And so our quarterback goes up there and he pays for his stuff. And the dude, he puts his hand out for his change, and the cashier throws his change on the counter. And so Ryan was a crash out before the term crash out was popular. So Ryan grabs the change and flings it at it. He's like, "Now you got a reason not to like me," and then walks out. And so it was just crazy how like he wouldn't even look at him. Like he just had this look of disgust when he saw the white because he went in first. He's like, "Yo, I go here all the time," because he was an upperclassman. We're freshmen. So he walks in and he's like, "Hey," and he's like, "What's up, man?" And then when he sees us behind him, his smile just instantly disappears. And so first of all, he looked at our friend Adam completely differently, I'm sure, after that. But Adam didn't give a damn. Adam wasn't racist. And so the fact that he just threw Ryan change on the counter like that, and then yeah, it was bad. So yeah, it's definitely worse in the South and Midwest than it is in the North. It's funny because my
yeah,
experience
that's
that I've
sad.
I've had so far living up north is like it's not as much racism, it's just more assholes. Like the people up north are so damn rude, bro. But it's like everyone. It's not just like, oh, white people are rude to black. It's everyone. Everyone's an asshole up here. Opposed to the racism you deal with in the South. So yeah, I think that's the biggest difference that I personally have seen and experienced. But I don't think you
Okay.
answered the question.
Okay.
What is
Yeah.
the short and long term effects of racism on mental health in your opinion?
Well, I'll say, well, what I was saying with the long term, I'm saying, it can make you not like a certain group of people,
Yeah.
and then with the short term, it can, eat at you. You're like, why don't these people like me? What did I do wrong? And you would just think about it, and it would just make you feel some type of way about it. It's like, hey, I ain't do nothing, and nobody. Why don't they like me? So I'll say that's a short term, but the way I have started to deal with it is what it is type
Yeah.
situation. That's especially growing up.
And I've heard stories from some mixed friends of mine where they said they'll be with their white side of the family and they just feel like, why are you here? Like I remember I had this funny enough, another teammate. He was mixed and he said for years his grandfather wouldn't didn't want to see him because he was mixed. Anytime his mom would go see him, she would have to leave him in the car or leave him at somebody's house or whatever. And so he said eventually he came around and he said they get along fine now when he said by the time he's 18. But he said, but still he won't see his father though. He said he refuses to speak to his father and stuff like that. He refuses to acknowledge him and stuff. But it's sad, you know what I'm saying? Like babies and children are innocent. They didn't ask to be here. And the fact that, he was going through all those obstacles to avoid seeing his grandchild, it's like, come on, man. So it's
Yeah,
just
that's wild to me.
but it's like you said, it is what it is. It's something that we as a community gotta always stick together with and stand strong and keep trying to spread anti-racism. And it starts with us. Like I said earlier, it starts with us. We got to stop being racist and discriminate our own race. You know, and it even goes back to it. It was built in us. Is taught. You know what I'm saying? So it goes back to the slave days when we were all slaves. You had house niggas, you had outside niggas. You know who was inside? The light skins. The dark skins was outside. So even back then, it's already that's where the tension started. Cause you got the house slaves, the outside slaves looking at them like, why he get to be inside? Well, I gotta be out here in the sun. You know what I'm saying? So it starts then. They instilled that in us then. And fast forward, it's
That Jim
still
Crow
raging
book
on.
too.
Yeah.
You remember that Jim Crow book that they said, how to, what was it, how to keep a slave for 400 years,
Hmm.
that book. And so, that's another thing.
So it's all these little seeds that was
So
planted in us.
yeah.
Even
Yeah,
even
so
even
so
taking
you
another step too is black folks selling black folks in Africa. They didn't just come just grab picking up random black people. Africans were selling blacks to them. They were selling other Africans to the slave dudes who were taking them on the boat. So it starts with us.
Yeah, hey, you ready to talk about a new subject, the best and worst advice you were given?
All right, let's go. What you got? You lead this
Okay.
one off.
I'll s- I'll say the best advice I was given. My mom told me the worst a teacher could say is no. That's the best advice I was given. I remember, there's been countless times where I've talked to a professor where I'll be close with a grade and they'll bump me up. I remember one time, I know you remember this class, financial policies and strategies. I dang couldn't sleep because of that class, but you remember that class, don't you? That
Yes.
was my nightmare class. And so I was at like a 69. And I remember reaching out to my professor. His name was Tandon. And I remember reaching out to him and I asked him, I'm like, hey, I'm at a 69. Can you bump me up to the C minus? He responded, hey Flint, you have a C minus. I didn't respond to that guy ever since. I'll say that was one of the best advices. And then this comes up again. One of my, close friends, I call him my little brother, but one of my close friends, he lives in Georgia now, but I remember he called me. He's like, bro, I just got, because we both went to USF. He's
Hmm.
like, bro, I just got kicked out of the engineering program. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm like, you know what, bro? Talk to them and see what they say. And he's like, you sure? I was like, yes. My mom told me the worst somebody could say is no, a professor
Yeah.
or a teacher. And so he reached out to him, and he ended up getting back into the engineering program and
Oh,
graduating and has an
nice.
engineering job. So I'm
Congrats to
happy
him.
for him, and I know he's thankful that
Is this
I
what's his
told
name's
him,
little brother you
the
talking
worst that
about?
somebody could say no. No, 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 no,
No. Okay.
no. I'll tell you about him later. But he's like one of my close friends from USF, and to this day, me and him keep in touch. He's a Heat fan. He's from South Florida, so we
Okay.
bonded instantly. He's a Heat fan. He's a Dolphins fan, and we just, we're able to both, deal with the pain of our teams being bad year after year. So that's why I think we get along. And then I remember we had a gym class together. So yeah,
Okay.
me and him are real close, and I think that impacted his life.
Good.
What about you? What's the best advice you're given?
Ironically enough, this advice was, and I don't. I'm a very firm person. Though. I hate people to give me advice. Like I don't know what it is. I just don't like the concept of it. Maybe that's a character flaw in me. Maybe I should be more open to advice. But a long time ago, funny enough, it was said by one of our ex friends, and it's always stuck with me. And he said, anything worth having in life is worth the hardship you endure. And so it's like if you want it, if you really want it as bad as you say you want it, go through that fire to get it. Because once you go through it and you obtain it, at the end of the day, you said that's what you wanted. And it feels better. Like you remember when we was a kid, our parents used to buy everything for us, and then we started getting our own first little bit of money, and we bought it, and we looked at it differently. And it's like, oh, I spent my money to get this. Money I cut. I was 6 weeks worth of chores I spent to buy this game. You know what I'm saying? So little things like that you appreciate it more because you spent your money on. And so that's always stuck with me. That always was something that I took heed in, and I understood that it helped me understand that it's not gonna be easy. And as long as you're constantly putting in that work to get there, when you finally do get there, you're gonna appreciate it a lot more. You're gonna appreciate it and look back on the journey.
That's great. That's great, and I agree with you. Like I'll say, when I went through the fire to go get that degree, it was an accomplishment. It
Absolutely.
wasn't nothing easy. I had to go
100%.
through all that. So I agree with you, and I agree with you when you said that you had to, cut the grass or do all those other jobs to get to buy the stuff. I used to cut grass so I could do things on the
Exactly.
weekend. Shoot, $20. Shoot, I cut grass for $20 a week. Man, I felt like a new person. So 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 yeah, you know, it is. It feels great when you get it on your own. You look at it differently.
Yeah, for sure.
What about the worst advice you were given?
Was you go first? I want to hear yours.
I got multiple. I got multiple. This is from one of our friends. You remember Perillo?
Oh, you talk about the
Real
advice
close
you
friend.
gave him? That was terrible advice. Is that what you're about to tell everyone? I mean, technically, I take that back. It wasn't terrible advice, but that's not the advice you give to a person who was going on a Mormon trip. So I'm sorry to cut you off. Continue. Continue. Oh my. I completely forgot about that until you refreshed my memory. That is hilarious, y'all.
No,
Go
no,
ahead. Go ahead.
no. This has nothing to do with that. I was told in life, the worst a woman can say is no, no, no. Nowadays they will straight up blatantly embarrass you in front
That
of
is
your
fact.
friends and
Ooh,
everything. Like I've seen videos like a guy proposing and she's like no and he's like why not, and then she just going on and on and on. I'm like, man, like this is some embarrassing stuff.
yeah, it don't
You
gotta
know,
be all that.
this is some embarrassing stuff. And I'm like, as seeing these different things going on, I'm like, no, man, shoot. The worst advice was the worst she could say is no, because man, they'll have you out here looking crazy. Like I remember I was watching a video and this chick was like, "Yeah, my ex-husband was a simp." I'm like, "Man, like
Women
this
are
ain't the worst
heartless,
she
man.
can't say is no. She can,
Yeah, women
yeah." So
are
I'm
cold.
like, "Oh my
Even
goodness."
Shaq wife went in on him. So, but it's funny because
Yeah.
it's slight tangent. But I was at work yesterday, and this cop came in the store, and there was some girl in there, and they were talking, laughing, or whatever. And so they did a lap, and he came back to the girl, and he went up to her, and he was like, "Here's my number, or whatever." And she's like, "Boy, I do not need her." And he's like, "Hey, you can either call the cops or you can call me," which I thought that was a cold line. He's like, "You can call the police or you can call me." I was like, "That's a cold line, bro." But one, I respected him as a man for shooting a shot, even in this climate of women. Like women, I understand some men take it too far. I get that aspect of it. But the ones who approach you like, "Hey, how you doing, shawty? What you, boy? If you don't get your ugly, like, dang, I got to be ugly." You can just say you're not interested. You don't gotta
Yeah.
destroy me. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I keep on, I
Shoot, they
totally
mess up.
get
They
it.
try to mess up your confidence.
Yeah, it's
They try
like,
to mess up your
and
confidence.
one
Like,
thing I've
boy,
learned in life,
shoot.
you can't kill the confidence of an ugly man. Ain't that right, money?
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. You see someone with it, like you see someone with some of these chicks, you like, oh my goodness, man. Like, you're like shoot. You see someone with somebody, you like, man, oh buddy got some game. You know? You see, hey, you see these somebody do some of these women. Hey, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You like,
Oh
oh buddy
man,
got some game, bro.
yeah. So I mean, it's just ways to go about it. Like I said, I understand some men are hella persistent and they won't take no for an. Then you gotta unload, but you can just go like, "I'm sorry, I'm not interested." It's like, "All right, cool, I appreciate it. Sorry," But women be doing too much, way too much, and it's like you don't gotta do all that.
Hey, you know what's crazy? Sometimes they'll turn you down. Like that Mike Jones song. Back then they didn't want me, now I'm hot, they
That's a
all on me.
fact.
They turn you down, and then they see you doing good. Hey, how are you?
That happened to me. My
I used to
childhood
have a
crush. I'll
thing.
never forget
You
that
have
girl.
a
My childhood crush
nah,
when I
and you
was in
like
college.
nah.
Yeah, I had when I went to college and I came back home, and Arbondale got that little whatchamacallit, that thing they built where people go and play basketball at. I was there.
Hmm.
They had like this thing where basically all the college athletes from Polk County just popped up, and I was one of them, whatever. And I seen her, and I was like, "Is that so and so?" And then her friend was like, she's like, "Hold on, I don't think he remember me." And then she was like, "Hey, we went to school together," and I was like, "Yeah, I very vividly remember you. I was obsessed with you in third grade. From third grade to sixth grade, I was in love with this girl." And so, but she was like trying to. We talked very briefly. We talked, and I learned she has two kids at 22 or something like that. And I'm like, "Nah, I'm good, shawty." Like, but it was just the fact that like all of a sudden she was interested, and it was like, where was this when we was younger? You know what I'm saying? I was ugly back then, but now I'm popping. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm this college athlete. It's a thing. So 100% is real. 100%. All right, so I
What
would
about you?
say
What's the worst advice you've been told?
the worst advice I've ever heard someone give was we had a friend who was going on a Mormon trip, and the other friend tells him, he was like, "What is some advice?" And I believe he did a whole YouTube video about it. I'm pretty sure it's still up floating around somewhere. We probably look hella young in that video, but he asked me, and I kind of got deep. And I've always was the deep, which is weird looking back at it in our friend group. I was always the deep one, probably because I was the oldest. But I got deep. I was like, "Man, you just gotta be smart out there, be safe and understand why you're doing this," and got real deep. And then the camera pans to our other friend, And he was like, "You have anything you want to think advice to give me?" And he looks away. He looks back. Don't get no chick pregnant. Like that's what you say to a guy going on a Mormon trip. Don't get no chicks pregnant. I'm pretty sure that was the furthest thing from his mind was to get some random girl pregnant. I'm gonna try to find that clip of this individual telling him that, and I'm gonna cut it and put it in here. But man, that was pretty bad advice. Oh my goodness, yeah, that was pretty bad advice. Another
It,
bad advice.
it it was quiet afterwards.
It was it was quiet. Another one was I was talking to we all got that one uncle in the family, that's in and out of jail. You're not sure about him. He probably high or something. And so I was talking to my grandmother, and I was telling her like, yeah, I'm thinking about transferring colleges. I just feel like what the coach is trying to do, he's not trying to help me be the best version of myself, and I think it might be best for me to go to a different school. And back when we was in school, athletically, it was a lot to transfer. So this was a big decision I was making if I was going to actually do it. And my uncle overhears the conversation. And he's like, "What's going on? What you mean you and the coach?" I'm like, "I just feel like he's trying to change the offense, and I think the offense he wants to run isn't conducive to me being successful." And he says, "Shit, nephew, just fire on his ass. You want me to swing on a 60-year-old white man because he's trying trying to change the program? What are we talking about?" What? What just happened? And so I was just like, yeah, no, I don't think I want to do that. I don't think that's the best
Which uncle
decision for
was
me.
this?
DJ,
Which
man.
uncle was this?
Just follow his ass, nephew. That's all you gotta do. I'm like, I'm not finna no. Can't believe he said that to me. And he was like that serious too. It wasn't like he was joking. Like me and you say stuff all the time that we're joking, but he was like that serious. Like stone face. He's just like, yeah, I'm telling you, he gonna look at you
What would your
completely
mom
differently.
say?
She was like,
What
that's
your
why.
mom
She was like,
say?
that's why I told you not to hang around him. I'm like, I know. He a loose cannon, bro. He a loose cannon.
Told you to fire on the coach.
Yeah, he's just following his ass. I'm like, what? No, I'm not finna do that. Then I lose my scholarship. I'm in jail. It's bad. This is bad news. Bad for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, that's wild.
What's some more bad
Hey, that's
advice
the
you
worst.
got?
That's the worst advice I've ever heard. Bad advice that you can always handle at fighting. Well, nowadays you can't. You fight a
Not
dude
everybody
and he
know how to fight
lose, and
too.
now he wanna. Yeah, hey, you fight a dude now, and then he go back to he pop the trunk. He go back to his car like, oh, okay, that's how you
People don't
want to
want to
do it
fight
now. And
nowadays,
so
man.
yeah, it's bad, man. People you get killed over a situation. And I was reading this thing. I sent it to my cousin. I'm gonna send. I don't know if I sent it to you, but if not, I'm gonna send it to you. And it said, "Could you imagine if, in order to get a gun, you had to win 3 fights?"
There'll be a lot less people out here strapped because people don't want, man. It's this funny ass 21 Savage meme floating around there, and it was like it, and it says the caption says Batman to the Justice League to Batman. Why should we let you join? And then it says Batman, and it's 21 Savage like.
I don't need no gun. I beat the shit out one of these niggas, boy. Straight up. Niggas don't want to fight no.
It is facts though. Like people nowadays don't want to fight, man, because people can't fight. But it was just funny as hell how he was like, I really beat the shit out of one of y'all. Like niggas don't want to fight no more. I'm like, that's true though. Nowadays the generation don't want to fight because they can't fight. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's just a lot has changed. People don't just go about and I think that's what we lacked from the 90s. I think that's what made the 90s so superior. Like back then, it was real that you had to be aware of what you say, or somebody might punch you in your mouth, and then you just got to deal with that afterwards. Now people are so quick to sue. I heard a story of some celebrity getting shot with a water gun. And to be fair, I understand you don't know what kind of liquids in the water gun, But some dude shot him with a water gun and he sued his ass. So it's
Did he win?
I think so, because it's considered assault. It's crazy. If we don't know each other, money, and I come up to you with a water gun, and I shoot you with a water gun, you can press charges on me. And I think that was the lane they was pushing. Like, we don't know what liquid was in that water gun. It could have been urine, and I'm like, that's fair, I guess. But do you really want to be known as a guy who sues somebody for getting shot with a water gun? So.
No, I don't. Did you hear about that chick that sued her husband for wasting her time?
You mentioned that to me, and I didn't look it up. I was like, I just can't.
The chick sued her husband for wasting her time because of empty promises. It's what she said.
I mean, he said he was gonna give her the world and got her sonnies. So it's a big.
He was only 26. It
hey.
was at 21, and they were only 26, and she sued him for wasting her time. And I just laughed about it.
I mean, not to play devil's advocate. How many promises did he make that he didn't come through on? I understand life happens and sometimes stuff falls through, but if you promising someone a bunch of stuff, you gotta come through on some of these promises. So if he's like, babe, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. If you promise 8 things and you ain't come through on none of them, I mean, come on now, what are we doing? We gotta talk. So I mean, you know, she might have had a point. That's crazy. But she might have had a point. Time is more valuable than money, and so hey, because you can get more money, you can't get more time, man. So I kind of feel where she's coming from. What's some good advice you got? You got another good advice? Oh yeah, one.
Good advice? I'll say, you know, I've gotten plenty of good advice from my cousins. They'll tell me their stories. I'll say my cousins in South Florida would tell me their stories, and they're like, you know, make sure you don't give up. You continue to work hard. And, you know, I remember when I was in college, that's one of the things that kept me striving, you know, to graduate. They'd be like, you know, if I was given that chance again, I would make sure I got through it. And, you know, I don't want to look back at life with regrets. So I'll say that's a great advice for them is, you know, if you don't want to look back at it and think, dang, I could have did this or that.
Right. I mean, kind of
What
similar
about
advice
you?
was given to me. It was actually the wrestling coach and at the college I went to, and he asked me about the situation, and he's like, if you could play, I think we had a game and we lost a close game, and he was like, and I was upset about it, and he was like, all right, Jay, if you could play that whole game over, would you do a lot of things differently? And I'm like, yeah, I would do this and that third, and then he was like, then stop holding back. He's like, you don't want to do anything in life to where afterwards you're like, I should probably do that differently. You should approach it, give your full effort, and so when the final results is there, you're happy with it. You're like, you know what? If I had to do it over, I'm content with what it was. I'm fine with the way it played out. So it was more so on, you know, always giving 100% and not living with regret. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're like, man, I should have did this or I should have did that. Always give your best effort.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. And that makes a huge difference with looking at life. You don't want to think of, you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Absolutely.
So you
All
ready for
right,
this next
man.
topic?
Are you ready for this next one?
I don't think you're ready.
Moving on to our next topic. We got the off season going on, the NBA playoffs. We're gonna get to the NBA playoffs. But before we get to the NBA playoffs, the question has came up. Who is the better basketball player? Dwyane Wade versus James Harden. All right?
Hold on, give me a second. Give me a second. I gotta do something real quick. I gotta get something for you real quick, bro. I gotta get something for you real quick.
Is that a Dwyane Wade?
answer the
I
question. Hold on.
wasn't I
Hold
wasn't
on.
expecting the props.
Hold
I
on.
thought you was gonna put it on over the polo. hmm So you want to start off, sir, or you want me to go first?
Yes, I'm starting off. I'm
Go ahead
starting
and
off.
go.
It's definitely Wade. No conversation. Okay? They have both played for 16 seasons. Right? 16 seasons. Okay. Well, Wade was in the playoffs 13 years. Harden was in the playoffs 16 years. How many championships does Harden have? Zero. Wade has this many. Wade has this many. Wade has this many. Okay? Harden has zero. Okay? Then we're going to talk about all-star appearances. Okay? 13 by Wade, 11 by Harden. Okay? 13 by Wade, 11 by Harden. Then we're going to talk about all NBA selections, 8 to 7. All NBA defensive first teams, all defensive teams, 3 to 0. How about final MVPs, 1 to 0? End of conversation.
All right, you got it all off your chest?
Yeah, go
All
ahead.
right. Look, D Wade, nice. Dwayne Wade's one of the greatest. Can't take it from him. But if we talk
Hold on.
about,
One more thing. One more thing.
okay, what else? What
One more
else?
thing. One of the best shot blocking guards of all time.
Okay.
All right, I'm done.
Anyways, if we talking about the better overall basketball player, I gotta go James Harden, man. His offensive game was deeper. His impact and during his prime was larger, and statistically, he's on another level. I'm gonna break this down into sections for you, okay? Harden's offensive peak was higher. Harden had one of the highest offensive peaks in NBA history from 2015 to 2020. He basically was unguardable, averaging 30 plus a game while leading the league in assists in those years. Wade had that kind of impact or volume. Never. Okay, moving along. Another one is, did you know James Harden, is all time in total 3 points made and assists for a shooting guard? Just a little fun fact for you. Harden's
Hey,
5 year
hey,
peak.
all,
I'll
all
take it a
I'm hearing
step
is
further.
offense.
I'll take it a
All I'm
step
hearing is
further.
offense.
Harden's 5 year peak is arguably the greatest of any guard outside of Jordan and Kobe. He averaged 36.1 points per game in 2019, something Wade never was even close to. He never sniffed it. Okay, he led the league in scoring 3 times and assists once. How many scoring titles does Dwyane Wade have? Just one. Just one. Okay. Um, any night, James Harden can get you a 30-point triple double, and there was literally nothing you could do. Wade's career high points per game was 30.2 in 2009. I'm sure you knew that because you're a big Wade guy. Harden had 3 seasons that's better than that. Okay? At the end of the day, we're trying to put the ball in the hoop. And we're going to go down to team comparisons. Harden had to carry more. Wade always had help from Shaq, from LeBron, from Brosh. Harden had to drag teams like Clint Capella and Eric Gordon to 50 wins in a deep playoff run. Come on,
Hey,
man.
hey, hey, he had KD and Westbrook. He had KD and Westbrook. KD and Kyrie, what did he do?
KD and Westbrook. You mean when he was a six man a
Yeah.
year? When he wasn't even starting because it was his second. He was in his second year. Come on now. In 2018, Harden's
What
Rockets
about
took.
KD and Kyrie?
He was hurt, and that team played 23 games together. That team never played a full lineup together. It wasn't one playoff series where all 3 of them were healthy. So stop it. 2018, Harden's Rockets took the peak Warriors. That was KD at the peak of his powers, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson to Game 7. And if CP3 doesn't get hurt, history's changed. Wade had Shaq. And then it's like, you know what? I'm gonna do one better than Shaq. And it's like, how do you do better than Shaq? Shaquille O'Neal? How do you do better than Shaquille O'Neal? I know how. You get the greatest basketball player ever on your team. And then you add in Bosh, who was a
Second.
walking double-double.
Second greatest.
We can talk about that next pod. Anyways, you add the greatest basketball player ever. The 2013 season by LeBron James is the greatest season by any individual basketball player in NBA history. Point blank period. We can talk about the numbers next week. But anyways, you add Brosh, and Harden had Capella, Eric Gordon, and a washed Dwight Howard. Still has 60 wins. You know why? Because he stepped backing on people. Come on, man. Then we're going to take another one. 2018 Harden. 2018 Harden. That's his MVP year. Capella averaged 7-6. Then he averaged 13-8. Then he had 14-11. And then he had 17-13. That was the years that Capella played with Harden, right? Bosh, when he played in Miami, he was an all-star every year, by the way, too. Keep that in mind. All-star every year. He averaged 19-8, 18-8, 18-8 again, and then 17-8. So out of those 4 years, Capella was better than him once, arguably better, and he wasn't an all-star, by the way. So even though his numbers you can argue better because he had more rebounds that year, Capella was never an all-star. The 2018 Rockets took KD Curry Warriors to Game 7. I can't emphasize that enough. The KD Warriors, which we consider the greatest team ever, if not one of the greatest teams ever assembled, outside of the damn 96 Bulls. And teams were built to stop Harden. CP don't get hurt, they probably get a ring that year. Another thing, too, is James Harden revolutionized the game. Wade was elite in his era. We can't take that from him. Dwyane was nice. But Harden changed the game. From the step back to iso ball, we never seen anyone go out there. Everybody go, I got him one-on-one and he can't guard me. From the drawing the foul, he was the original foul merchant. You look at SGA and all that, throw the ball up. Harden used to, and one. Come on, man. What are we talking about? Harden was the original foul merchant because you couldn't stop him, so you had to foul him. And then when you sent him to the line, he was an 80% free throw shooter. Okay. Another one is, who does a step back three? He created the analytic offense. Teams started caring about analytics because of him. He forced the NBA to adjust the rules around his game. Wade didn't shit the league like that. James Harden broke it. How you said, oh, that's a travel. They had to clarify the rules. They had to change, like, oh, well, is it a travel? Is it not a travel? Come on, man. And Harden's longevity.
What about Harden in Game 7s? What about Harden in Game 7s? That dude has stunk up the place in Game 7s. Let's talk about that.
Anyways, while I was rudely interrupted, we're going to talk about Harden's longevity, okay? He's had a longer peak and more consistent stat production. He's already passed Wade in, let me see. Career numbers, he's passed Wade, and I'm trying to go. Points, assists, rebounds. Yeah, and he's still playing currently. So he has all these stats more than Wade. He averaged the same amount of steals for his career. Everyone likes to say Dwyane Wade was this amazing defender. They averaged the same amount of steals for their career. Harden also was a 7-time All-NBA first team. Wade had 2 of those. That's interesting. Harden won MVP in 2018 and had 6 top 5 finishes. Dwyane Wade had 1 top 5 finish. 3-time scoring champ.
He got a Finals MVP though.
2-time led the league in assists. Harden is actually do more with less. Wade got the rings, but Harden got the resume, man. You keep talking about that. And then we could talk about the game. Modern game. He fits in the modern game. Wade couldn't shoot threes. He was a career 27% three-point shooter. The dude shoot worse than Jordan, and we all know Jordan can't shoot. So it's like, what are we talking about?
That dude slammed on a dude.
Back from Jermaine O'Neal, got a piece of it. Wade.
Harden's game translate. James Harden punched on people.
All right, thank you, David. Here's Harden with the drive. Harden going right at Draymond Green, and a lot of chatter out there following that shot. Oh!
Well, don't be disrespectful. James Harden
You a
punched on
slam
plenty
on
of
dudes.
people.
Conference final in astonishment as here's Harden got the step and step. Oh, what a move! And he went right at Javale.
Come on, man.
Okay, Wade
After
was
he
a better
punched on, he's
player.
like, man, I
You
got so
already
high, I got a
know.
nosebleed. I need some tissue after dunking on him. So don't be disrespectful. Don't do that. Don't do that, bro.
But hey,
Okay.
hey, nothing was filthier than an Anderson Varejao dunk that Wade
Like
did
I
to him.
said, anyways, Harden fits today's game, spacing, shooting, and playmaking. Dwyane Wade was
about
never the
head-to-head, Jay?
playmaker.
D Wade beat him head to head.
He beat him head to head in the regular season. I mean, we could talk about the point averages.
No,
in those
no, no,
games
no,
too.
no, 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 no. In the finals. In the finals.
In the finals, when he was a child, he was in his second,
Yeah.
third year in the league. You want kudos for that?
Don't matter.
Cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll
you
take
like to talk about Dwyane Wade's 3 ring and Harden has none. That's true, but context matter. Wade has Shaq, his second, third year in the league, then the Miami Super Team. Harden had to play KD Warriors dynasty with no real star besides CP3, an older CP3, and still almost beat him. And the rings matter so much. That's not how you measure greatness, though. Charles Barkley and Alvin Iverson are 2 of the greatest, and they don't have any rings. So that makes them all bums. We got to chill with these rings
said
being the
that.
end-all, be-all. If Harden played with
They
prime
play
LeBron,
defense.
James Harden plays defense. He averages the same amount of steals for his career as Dwyane Wade.
How many defensive first teams? How many defensive teams at all? 3 to 0.
The whole defensive teams and all
3
that is
to
so
0.
skewed. It's so skewed. Like, it's so skewed. We have guys who won Defensive Player of the Year, but wasn't first team all defense. How does that work, money? How do you win DPOY, but you're not first team all defense? So the whole measuring how defense is played in the NBA needs to be fixed. It's always been flawed. If Harden played with LeBron James, the greatest player of all time, the greatest player we've ever seen, and Chris Bosh, instead of Clint Capella and Austin fucking Rivers, he would have 3 rings too. Okay? Let's just be clear.
Hey,
on that.
Wade had to beat the Celtics. Wade had to beat the
Harden
Celtics.
had some
with
bad
Paul
moments
Pierce,
in the
KG,
playoffs. I
Rondo,
get that.
and Ray Allen.
Paul Pierce, KG, Ron, all them boys was old. Only person that wasn't old was Rondo. He be the old Celtics team. Whoop-de-doo. Okay? Harden had some bad playoff moments.
Kendrick
But he
Perkins
also
wasn't
averaged
old.
38 and 6 in multiple playoffs runs. Okay? In 2018, he took arguably the greatest team to 7 games and was up 3-2, and then CP3 bitch ass got hurt. Wade had bad playoff series too. He got swept in the first round multiple times. Let's not act like he's Jordan, who Jordan got swept by Boston.
He
in the first
they
round.
not have
No one wants
40.
to talk about
He
that.
they not have 40 versus the Mavs.
He was swept. They had to go get the brooms, okay? Wade's a 2-way player. Harden don't play D. Wade was better on defense, but Harden isn't a trash can defender. He's one of the best post defenders as a guard in the league and led the league in steals one year. He's locked in, okay? We got to stop. And if we're judging strictly on defense, is Bruce Bowen a Hall of Famer? Because we have people who don't even know who Bruce Bowen is. And he's considered one of the best defenders ever. So we can't sit here and act like defense means more than offense. Because at the end of the day, who wins the game? The team that scores the most points. Simple. Very simple. Wade, his impact on the game was no comparison to James Harden. Harden changed the game the way it was played with the step back threes and the isolation and spacing. Offensive efficiency. He influenced the entire generation. How many niggas do we see out there doing step backs? Jason Tatum has the slowest step back I've ever seen in my life, but he be shooting them. How many generations of little niggas do we see out there? Come on, man. He made analytics look sexy, okay? You look at the
Hey, the
analytics of
threes
James
are
Harden
because of
game,
Steph Curry.
it's sexy. Come on, man.
The
And
threes for
then
the Steph Curry.
you brought up that Wade won the Finals MVP. Cool, he did. But let's not pretend the refs didn't let that nigga shoot 100 free throws. Okay, we both know
He
that was
did not
extremely
have 40.
controversial. All right, it was legendary. We'll give it props. But you and I both know Dwyane Wade shooting 100 free throws in 6 games is ludicrous. Harden was putting up MVP numbers in every year for a half decade straight. Come on, man. What are we
Led the
talking
league in
about?
free throws. Led the league in free throws. That's what Harden did.
Because he was so good at drawing contact. He played the rules to his advantage. He knows if I go up this way, they had to change the rules because of you. Realize that, right? They had to change the rules. Whenever you're a player in the NBA and they change the rules because of you, you're legendary. It's that simple. They changed the rule because of how James Harden played it. He was like, all right, well, I know if his arm gets caught in here and I go up, it's a foul. They had to change it like, well, if the arm is in there, it's like they changed the language of it. How many rules they changed for Dwyane Wade? I'm just saying, man. How many times has Dwyane Wade averaged more than 30 points a game? Okay, okay.
In the finals. In the finals. He averaged dang near
How
40.
many championships does Dwyane Wade have without 2 other Hall of Famers on the roster? Okay, okay.
Hey, let's see. Let's see. Shaq was older in that Miami Heat run.
Shaq was 32. That's old.
Shaq wasn't in prime Shaq.
Okay, okay. He was older. He also had 3 Hall of Famers on that roster. Shaq, Gary Payton.
Name him.
Shaq, Gary Payton. Come on now. We're not gonna do this.
No, name another one. Name another one.
Oh my goodness, what's that dude's name? It was somebody else on that team. You know who he is. It was 3 Hall of Famers on that roster. Then fast forward to
Mourning.
the
You talking about
Heatles.
Mourning?
Exactly, Alonzo Mourning. You fast forward to the Heatles. Bosh, legendary. You know what I'm saying? They probably gonna retire his number in Toronto one day. Dwyane Wade, obviously a good player in his own. Then we're gonna add LeBron James, back-to-back
Man, you keep
MVP
forgetting one
LeBron
person.
James.
You keep forgetting one person.
Well, on the Heat team,
Mr. Shoot them threes. Yeah,
they had
Mr. Shoot
everybody.
them
That's what I'm
threes.
saying. The team was loaded. They had Ray Allen, who at the time was the greatest
Hey,
three-point
can't be
shooter of
forgetting
all
about
time.
him.
Then you had Shane Battier,
Can't forget
who
about
came
him.
in there and shot 6 threes. And everyone tried to say, oh, Shane Battier saved LeBron. Dwyane Wade bum ass was on that team too, who had 14 points. But Shane Battier just saved LeBron. LeBron had 32 points that game, and Shane Battier just saved LeBron. What about Dwyane Wade with them badass knees? We gonna talk about his performance in that game?
Hey.
How Shane saved his ass? No? Okay, cool. It's cool, man.
We know the truth. We know the
Exactly.
truth.
We
Now
know the
let's talk
truth.
about let's talk about the current.
The current NBA playoffs. Before we hop
Yep.
into what's going on, I got a couple headlines for you. So, obviously, we had the NBA lottery. We'll start over. All right, so we had the NBA lottery recently, and we all know Dallas got the one. So, a lot of rumors are circulating. Will Dallas keep it? Will Dallas move it? Will Dallas keep it? As of right now, the Dallas Mavericks are expected to keep their draft pick and not trade down. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a good move. Me personally, I would rebuild because Anthony Davis is old, Kyrie is injured. Cooper Flag is a great player. What is he going to do with an old Anthony Davis? Just him and Anthony Davis. What are they going to do? You have to rebuild that team. I would trade Anthony Davis. I would wait till Kyrie get healthy and trade him too, and just rebuild a young team around Cooper Flag.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. I do like. I'm trying to put this in the right words. I do like Kyrie being there as like an older mentor because from Kyrie being in Brooklyn to Kyrie on Dallas, he's matured a lot. So I think the maturity of Kyrie, I would like to be around the Cooper Flag because Kyrie's been through a lot of adversity, and I feel like he can help that young player. Like, hey, when I went through this is how I handled it. So I love that aspect of Kyrie sticking around, but as far as him being on the court with him, he's out this year. He's not gonna play. He's gonna miss most of the season. Anthony Davis can't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time, so I don't blame you for wanting to move off him. It was rumors that they would move off him before the season even ended, when he first got hurt. So I wouldn't be shocked if he gets moved, but I agree with you. I think they should keep it. Go get Cooper Flag. He's the best American player that we've seen in a very long time. Maybe since Wiggins. Maybe I'm going too far back.
Well, Wiggins was born in Canada.
Is Wiggins Canadian? Dang.
Yeah.
Okay, so shoot, maybe it's further than. I'm trying to think of like top prospects that were American that everyone was hyped about. The last one I would say honestly a lot of people was hyped about was Chet. A lot of people was hyped about Chet, but Chet wasn't.
Hmm.
Chet didn't do what Cooper did. Cause you remember Chet was good until they got to the tournament. Chet was bad in that tournament on one of the top teams
Yeah.
too. He played really bad in that tournament, which I think ultimately hurt his draft stock because he was projected number one, and then the tournament happened, and next thing you know, Orlando has Paolo. So I think that was the last one was
No,
Chet.
hold on. I didn't think Chet and Paulo was in the same draft. I think Paulo was in the same draft as Victor.
You sure? I could have sworn Chet went
Check
three
it
that
out.
year. Let me look real quick.
No, Chet went two. Chet went two. I think he was in draft with Victor. I might be wrong,
Yeah, Victor came out
but I
last year. Chet
remember.
been in the league, Brony. 2022 draft. Draft picks. Yeah, Paolo. It was Paolo, then Chet, then Jabari Smith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah. So
Well, he
I
went two.
felt
So,
yeah he went two. He went two. So I thought he went three. I don't know why he went three, but I knew they were in the same draft. So, but things like that. But Cooper was balling, and you know I don't like that university. I don't like to give them no props, but ball is ball. And when it came to tournament, he showed up. He wasn't the team reason his team lost. So I
I
don't
agree.
blame him. I think they should have stayed put. Another is it's rumored that Philly is planning not to trade down to select, and they plan on selecting the best player available on the board, regardless of position.
Well, we know who that's gonna be. That's gonna be Ace Bailey.
You think what's the name's gonna go number two?
Yeah, you can. You have to. You have to as Philly to take him number two. Unless Philly trades out of the pick totally, but still, whoever gets number two, he's the second best player in the draft.
No, what's the name? Philly picks three. So it
I mean,
sounds like you
no. I
think
mean,
that guard is gonna go second. I can't think of his
no, the
name.
Spurs. Yeah, that guard's going. Yeah, Harper.
Harper. There we go. So you got Harper going number two.
Yeah, Harper's going second.
Okay.
So Ace Bailey's, to me, the third best player.
I mean, Ace Bailey will be nice if they do go get him. I can see potentially Paul getting moved. Paul was bad last year. I can accept that and admit that. He looked like age is catching up to him. So I'm not sure what the plan is for PG. I'm not sure they're gonna give him another chance, but he was supposed to be that second option on the team, and he just was bad last year.
Let me
I'm
ask
hoping
you
he
this:
bounces back. I
If you're
still
Philly,
believe in him. Mm-hmm.
if you're Philly, what do you do with that team?
Man, as much as I hate to agree with you, I think this is one of those teams you actually tear down. Obviously, you can't get rid of Embiid because of his contract. You can try, but he has a big contract. Tyrese Maxey is very valuable right now because he's starting to bloom as a star. So you can probably get some value for him. Or you can keep Maxey, move Embiid, and build around Maxey and Bailey.
I like that. I like that, Maxie and Bailey. But here's
Yeah,
my main concern with that. Right, Maxie's what, 26, or is he younger?
I think he's 25, 24.
My main
He just
thing
got paid
is
too,
by the
so it's going to
time
be hard to
Bailey,
move that contract.
my thing is by the time Bailey hits his groove, will Maxie
Still
still
be
be
that
a
level of
top tier
player.
player? He should be. He should be because he
Theoretically,
should be
yes, he
what,
should be
30 at most.
at
But
most.
you would
That's
probably want
fair.
a younger team at that point.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. So I just found those two little tidbits interesting. Spurs have been tight-lipped what they plan on doing with their number two selection, but I mean,
You
I
think
think they should
you
move
think
it.
you agree
I
with me,
think
or
they
you
should
think they're
move it.
gonna and get Greek Freak,
I don't know if you can package up and get Greek Freak. I did like the one you
or would
proposed,
you?
but we also got to make the salaries work. So it's like, are you going to give up Castle? I don't want to give up Castle. He just won Rookie of the Year. He's very promising.
Let me ask you this: if you're the Spurs, can you get the Greek Freak without having to give up Castle or pick number two?
You got to give up one of them, if not both. I've seen some
That's what I'm
fake
saying.
trades where both are included, and I don't like it. I understand because Giannis
I
is
would say
arguably the
no.
best player in the world. I would say no too because I got to hold on to one of them.
I would
And I
trade
feel
Fox
like as
first
much as I like
before I give up
Castle, I
both
think
of
the
them.
second pick is more valuable. I agree with you on that. I think that second pick is more
I give up
valuable than
Fox first.
Castle. So if you make me pick, I would pick Castle because it's like, hey, we like him here. We know what he's about. We'll give you Fox in the second pick and whatever else for Giannis.
Oh man, I don't know if I could give up Fox and the second pick, man.
It's Giannis, bro.
Like
It's gonna be expensive. It's gonna be a high price tag.
here's my thing. My main thing is right. Giannis been so loyal to the Bucks. Who's to say he gonna be loyal to the Spurs? You get what I'm saying? Because we've seen so many players who go to another team and then they're like, "Oh no, I don't like this. I want to be out."
I don't see him just demand the trade every year. Like you made a good point. That is true. We've seen it a lot. But to be honest, we've more so seen it with American players. Foreign players don't really team hop like
Yeah.
that. I mean, as racist as that may sound, but look at the history of it. Foreign players usually stay on their team. So I don't see him. If he does
That's true.
get moved, I don't see him get moved a lot. Maybe one more time after that, but it'll be
Okay.
like years down the road when he's like 36, if that.
They'll be a nasty team defensively, and they
Yeah.
should win championships.
That would be a really good team. That'll probably be the team I'll
But
play with on 2K. I'm not gonna lie. That would be a fun team. Giannis and Wemby, I'm throwing lobs all day. But all
yeah,
right,
that'd be
now
a
to the
great one.
juicy part,
I,
the Western Conference. What you gonna say?
I'll say this, man. I'm looking at it. I'm like, you have to pick a team that can beat OKC, Denver, the
Correct.
Wolves.
That team has a chance.
So,
I agree.
do you I think Giannis and
Giannis and Wemby is
Giannis and
scary, bro.
Wemby can beat those teams.
My only issue
With
is I
Fox,
don't want
it
Giannis. I
depends.
mean, not Giannis. Wemby shooting all them threes. I don't want Wemby
Well, you
shooting
need a floor
seven
spacer
threes a
because
game.
Giannis can't shoot threes like that. So you might have to have Wemby shoot a lot more.
If he's playing the
So
four,
that's
I
my
guess I
main
would
thing.
live with it. But you know, I don't like center shooting a bunch of threes.
I know.
And he's
I
a
know.
decent shooter. I'm not trying to
Like
discredit Wemby, but
Mhm.
I don't know. But I like that
let's
team
talk
though.
about let's talk about the contenders they have to go against. OKC is up 2-0 versus the Wolves. What are your thoughts on that? I was expecting it to be 1-1. You know, they're 1 versus 6, but I was expecting it to be 1-1. I thought the Wolves would have one game too, but they got crushed.
Yeah. The first game they won 117 to 118, I believe, and then they won the second one 118 to 103 in game two. MVP SGA or Shea Gilchrist Alexander. Listen, that boy is on a mission this year. SGA is really trying to hoop. Him and Jalen Williams combined for 64 points, showcasing how dominant OKC has been all year. The series now shipped to Minnesota for Game 3 on Saturday, and I'm not
Your
gonna lie,
predictions.
Timberwolves aren't a serious team, bro. Like that's gonna be my take for eternity. They're not a serious team. You just lost by 30 points, and you're laughing in the post game. What's funny? What's funny? And I think that's maybe why I didn't make it because I was way too serious. I hated losing,
Hey, hey,
and
hey, 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 Jay, could you imagine a press conference after me and you just lost by 30? We're not in there laughing or
well,
nothing.
we not
We
laughing.
probably
Ain't
like
nothing
pulling a
funny.
Kobe. We
Yeah.
hey Jay, we in the work, we in a room. We doing interviews while we working out, sweating. Like, okay, yeah, well, next game ain't gonna be the same. We go for 60 if we have to win this game. We're not playing no games with these people. We ain't laughing. Ain't
No.
nothing funny about this.
And it's like they're in
I'll
there
say because
laughing after
we
chucking
hate
up
losing.
607 threes, It's like, bro, I don't like it. It rubs me the wrong way. Shea damn near had 40 with 8 assists doing his normal foul merchant stuff. And it's different with him compared to Harden. Harden used to draw the contact with, great footwork and, manipulation of the body. Shea will go into and throw the ball at the hoop and fall down. It's like, come on now. I'm not
Yeah,
trying to take away from
he
him, but
flops.
he is looking like the god
bro.
of flopping.
I don't like. I don't. To me, I'm starting to not like it. Like,
Yeah.
this is not what helps make the game better. Like you remember that Wolves player? Like he was falling down, he pushed him and got a technical. Cause he's like, bro, like if you're gonna do that, yeah, like he pushed him, he got a technical for it. I don't blame him because it's like, look, man.
He said,
what did he say?
He said, he was like, were you upset in that point in the game? He's like, I wasn't upset. And he was like, he's like, I had a couple extra fouls to give, so I figured just create a little contact, let them know we here. And it's like, I like that mindset. I like that, like, it's going to be a physical game. I'm going to push you for no reason. I'm okay with getting this flagrant. Are you going to be okay with it, knowing that I may do this shit again? So I like that mindset. And honestly, what I would do, if I'm the coach of the Wolves, I'm going to force the rest to play their hand. From the jump ball.
You know what, Jay?
We playing physical.
Jay, I would put him on SGA the whole game, make him think about it. I
would tell like, hey y'all, we playing physical. We playing 90s basketball. And so it's gonna go either way.
We playing like the Pistons.
Either you gonna
the
call
bad boy Pistons.
Either you gonna call 50 fouls, or you gonna call 2 and we gonna get away with 10. But we gonna play physical the whole game. And the refs try not to take over the game with the calls. So I'm going to force their hand. Call them 50 fouls, or you're going to let us get away with some stuff. Because if Shea's going to do that foul merchant stuff, you got to make the refs call it. And it's like, all right, babe, we're going to call it.
But like I said, Jay, like I said, I'll put him on SGA from the start of the game and he'll be talking trash. Yeah, boy, what you going to do it again, boy? We talk all types of trash to him because... Like, I don't like that flopping stuff. I never liked that flopping stuff. Like, I understood. I like the Harden would actually make his shots with the fouls. Like with SGA with his flopping, I'm seeing him falling down and doing all this extra stuff. It's like, come on, bro.
And then, shoot the ball. It led to SGA getting
Mm-hmm.
wide open middies. That's his favorite shot because they were so scared to foul him. And if you keep letting him do that, bro, it's not going to work. So you gotta, and I don't think it can only be Jaden because Jaden's gonna end up fouling out if it's only him playing physical. The whole team has to play that physical basketball. That way, it's like, are the refs gonna call 50 fouls or are they gonna let us play? I will force their hand there.
Where's Rudy, Jay?
Exactly. So I need Rudy. I need Rudy to finish the game with 4 fouls. So yeah.
Hey, 4 fouls or 4 blocks, one of the two.
Exactly, one of the two. I need that DPOY that you supposedly earned over these years to pop up. You stole one from Draymond and you stole one from Ben Simmons. So I need to see it. The Pacers lead the series 1-0 following a thrilling 138-135 overtime win in Game 1. Tyrese Halliburton buzzer-beating shot to send the game to OT, and former Knicks Obi Toppin decisive dunk sealed the game in overtime. Game 2 is going to be tonight at 8 p.m. in Madison Square Garden. What are your thoughts, Money?
I'm picking the Knicks to win this. I can't see them going down 0-2. I can't see them going down 0-2 at home. Come on, man. The Halliburton shot I seen it. I'll say that dude could take 100 shots and probably at most make 5.
You know his
that buzzer
beater percentage is, right? On shots that take the
like
lead,
high.
It's 11-12.
Yeah, it was high.
He's taken 12
ridiculous.
game-winning shots or shots to take the lead or something like that. He's 11-12. Now, obviously, at some point, it's going to come down to the mean. But the fact that, Money, that's great for free throws. That's how insane that is. He's shooting shots from anywhere from 20 to 30 out and making them. So, I mean, Hallie's hot right now, man. He's hot. He's confident in himself. He's rolling. And I think the biggest thing I took away from that game was Jalen Brunson had like 8 turnovers. Jalen Brunson can't turn the ball over that many times and expect to win. He's the best player on the floor every night, and that's unacceptable. Another thing that helped the Pacers is Nate Smith going to make 6 threes in the fourth quarter every game? Aaron Naismith was playing 2K, Money. He was going out the pull up three, get on the wing, pull up three.
The shots he
looked
was
like
making.
Dash. He looked like Dash shooting all them damn fadeaway threes. I'm like, what is going on? What is happening?
Hey, he was hitting it. Hey, Jay, he was hitting them too. I'm like, oh no.
Bro, yes, he was
Oh
hitting.
no,
I'm
he
like,
ain't
what
gonna
is
make no
going
shots
on?
like that.
Are we watching the same? And then it's like, bro, they were right here on him. It don't matter. Right here on him. It don't matter. And it's like, dog, he was hot. He finished the game 8. And it's like, he's a good player. Do I see him going 8 for 10 again? No. That nigga was cashing them hoes. And I think that's what makes the playoffs special, bro. Like I mentioned earlier,
gonna be
about
1-1.
Yeah, it's gonna be, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. But I think this is what makes the playoffs special, because how I mentioned earlier, Shane Battier came in and hit those 6 threes. You got role players doing stuff like that. Aaron Naismith isn't considered one of the star players on that team. He's a good player, don't get me wrong. But him to come out there and have 30, you can't expect that. You can't expect that. You can't game plan for that. You know what I'm saying? So when little things like that happen, I think that's what makes this more thrilling, more enjoyable to watch. And I think that's another thing, the difference between the last series with the Cavs and the Pacers compared to this one against the Knicks. Like I said last episode, the Cavaliers are soft. They're a soft team. After they lost that game 1, people try to say, oh, the team was hurt. Their players came back. They were so defeated by that game 1, they count themselves out. It was over after game 1. The series is over after game 1. Their whole demeanor changed. Their identity as a team changed. The only person who kept playing was Donovan Mitchell. Outside of that, though, everyone else laid down.
That's sad.
It is.
It's
So,
sad. But the Knicks aren't like that. The Knicks ain't gonna lay
exactly,
down.
exactly. The Knicks are not gonna lay down. They're gonna respond.
They're gonna win this. Yeah.
They can't go down 0-2
And
at
Cat
home.
has had an incredible year.
Cat has been. I said the Cat been hooping, man. Cat has been hooping.
Yeah, I
give him
didn't
his
believe
props.
it till you showed me. I'm like, oh man. And
Cat has been
Jalen
playing
Brunson,
out of his mind this year.
to me, Jay, Jalen Brunson is Batman. He needs Superman next to him, and Cat has put up big numbers. He had big numbers. Well.
Cat has played
my
as well
is,
as it's funny. Julius Randle was awful in the playoffs for his career. The way Julius Randle's playing now is what they needed for him last year. But what he's doing now for Minnesota, Cat's doing for the Knicks. So they needed that. They needed somebody to come along, which is why they moved off of Julius, because he was awful in the playoffs. And I think last year he was hurt. Last year he was hurt, and the year before that he was awful. He was shooting 27% for the floor at one point. So it's like, with a power forward, and as good as I believe Julius Randle is, that's unacceptable. So they had to move off him, which, as it seems, it worked out for both teams, because Julius Randle, the only player that's playing good right now for Minnesota. Ant-Man's supposed to become the face of the league, and he's not looking like it.
No, Ant-Man had a good game last game. He had a good game. He's been horrible shooting threes, though. He need to stop taking them threes. He need to have that D-Wade game.
Game 1, he had 18. He shot the ball 13 times. Julius Randle played really good game 1. Game 2, I must have missed it. I think he had 20 or something.
He had like 32.
He had 30. Okay.
He had like 32.
But Randle has been showing up. He's been doing his part.
No, Randle didn't show up game 2.
So I mean, I don't know. I think that's the biggest thing, though. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think the Knicks are a team that's going to lay down. They're a very tough, hard-nosed team. So I see them winning tonight. They can't go down 0-2 at home and then try to go on the road.
Yeah.
Just cannot.
That's over with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your season over.
Anything else you want to add about this games?
I'm looking forward to watching these games.
Absolutely. I love this every day it's a game. So, you get to watch it. I say my last thing, let's throw our finals predictions in. Who do you have going to the finals?
Well, looking at it now, I'm about to say OKC versus the Pacers.
Same. I got OKC versus the Pacers too. And I got
Hey
OKC
Jay, I was saying Minnesota. I was saying Minnesota, but after them not taking like laughing and stuff after that, nah.
They're not a serious team, bro. And it's funny because the sports personality said this. He's like, it's a part of Ant's charm. You love him for his charisma, and he's naturally funny and stuff like that. It's things you love about him, but also it's something that comes with him. It's like the old Brett Favre theory. I love referencing this. You win with Brett, you lose with Brett, because you know Brett gonna go out there and throw his arm out of socket, slinging that thing all over the field. He's gonna throw 4 interceptions. He's also gonna throw 4 touchdowns.
Hey Jay, he either gonna throw them 5 touchdowns or 5 picks.
Exactly.
Just,
You win with Brett, you lose
depend
with
on the
Brett.
day.
And they said it's kind of the downfall. Not maybe downfall is the wrong word, but the negative that comes with Ant. Ant's gonna tell you what it is. Like one game, he was like, "I've never seen that type of defense before." I don't want to hear that from my superstar. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, they play really well. They matched up against me well. Cool. But Ant's just too honest in some of these. And I think that's what's rubbing me the wrong way with his post game interviews.
But he's young though.
He is.
That's the main thing. He's what, 23,
Yeah,
24?
23, 24.
And we think about us at 23, 24 we're totally different now than what we would have been.
But he
So
also
that's
has
why I say
media
that's
training.
really the
we
main
don't have
thing.
media training, and I think we would have
That's true.
answered those questions a little better than what he's been doing. So it's like you just gotta take the good with the bad with Ant. Like you said, the part of that is maturing, but he should know better, man. He should know better. But yeah, I got OKC versus the Pacers as well. I actually got OKC winning in 5. They just been far and away the best team in the league. It almost feels, I won't go as far as, but it almost feels like that KD Warriors team. We knew they were going to win the championship. Like we didn't have to watch basketball.
It's
that
just
year.
inevitable.
It's just inevitable, and that's how it's starting to feel. And it's nice to see SGA win the MVP because it's been it doesn't happen as much as you may think. The MVP winning the championship. Obviously, it still needs to play out.
And
we need to see it happen.
Let me ask you this, Jay. How many times has the MVP won the Finals MVP?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that off the top of my head. I'll probably have it in there somewhere. But that's a great question. I'm not sure how often it's happened. I don't think it's happened a lot, honestly. I think the last time I can remember the MVP winning the championship and the Finals MVP is probably LeBron. I think that was the last person did it in 2013.
Yeah.
When he was a superhero.
Maybe. That's what I'm thinking.
So that just shows you
That's
how
probably
rare
the last
that
one.
is. Yeah. That was probably the last one. But I'm looking it up now that Jokic won MVP. All right, let's see.
That might have been the last one. Who has won it?
He didn't win that year. Hold on, maybe I'm misreading it. Yeah, he did. 2022.
Okay.
Or hold on. 2022. 23. No. Because he won his championship. He won his championship in 23. No, he didn't. Because
So it might have been LeBron.
22, 23. And 22. Yeah, no, it was Embiid. Embiid won in 23. Jokic won a championship in 23. He won 22 and 24. So it might be LeBron. I don't know. I'm going to look it up.
Wow, that's interesting.
I'm
Well,
gonna look it up.
I'll say
That is crazy.
I'll say we gotta go because we gotta see how this video.
Yeah, we got to
come
wrap
out.
it up. We're having technical difficulties. But if you made it this far in the video, thank you guys so much for watching and listening along. Please leave comments on, anything you guys want. We love to hear your opinions on it. We'll love to hear what you guys think about the first topic and share some of your experiences with us. Obviously, get in there and talk about that James Harden versus Dwyane Wade. Love to hear some of you guys' opinion on that as well. But until the next one, I'm Jace HD, aka Two Wavy Jasta.
I'm Money, and y'all have a good one.
Please subscribe, like, and share the video. Peace.